You just tuned it in. Global and worldwide. Hitting you on the one with no delay. Because it's the Fighters Voice. The Fighters Voice. With your fighting host, Richard Ortiz. And the formidable co-host, Mr. Cole Escovedo. Remember, every fighter has a voice.
Fresno, California, we're live. This is your host, Rich Ortiz of The Fighter's Voice, the only voice that matters, Knockout Podcast. Well, my co-host with the most, the one, the only, the UFC veteran himself, the Apache Kid, Cole Escovedo. How we doing, Cole?
Not bad, amigo. It's different being here on a Tuesday night.
I know, we switched it up.
Yeah.
We had to make a special arrangement for a special someone. Mm-hmm. And that special someone is our guest tonight, my man. She controls the whole boxing industry. She is the face of boxing. She is the queen of the sport. I can go on and on.
Accolades for days.
I would say the man, but it's the woman, the myth, the legend, the one, the only, Callie Swanson, who is the president of Swanson Communications. Welcome to the show, Callie.
Thanks for having me, and thanks for that nice introduction. I appreciate it.
Hey, it's very well deserved, because you're always on the go. I don't even think you took a day off on Labor Day.
Probably not. I don't even remember Labor Day.
Well, there you are.
Very busy right now. We got a lot of things going on, especially the big pay-per-view coming up between Errol Spence and Sean Porter, September 28th at Staples Center. So, in the throes of working on that and looking forward to that fight and the whole card on that fight. It's going to be a great night of boxing.
It is. You know, Sean Porter got that granite chin, and Errol Spence, he has that 84% knockout ratio. So what's your whole take going into that fight?
You know what? As the overall publicity chief for that fight, I actually don't really analyze what's going to happen in the ring. My job is to make sure that people like you and your listeners are having those conversations themselves. And we just want to bring out the best of both fighters, show up with interesting tidbits about the whole show. I'm excited about the Benavidez and Andre Durrell fight, too. So
that's going to be a good fight.
It's really our job to make sure that people are aware of the fight, know a little bit about the fighters, and then they can have that conversation themselves.
You know, I was just trying to get a little hint. I was going to see if you're going to tip your hat just a little bit, but I understand. It's your job to be right down the middle. But, you know, pushing this fight, promoting this fight, advertising this fight, I mean, this is an easy fight to sell, I would say, because of these two fighters, these combatants, these warriors who are meeting each other in the prime of their career. Don't you wish more fighters would face each other in the prime of their career and not let networks or dollar signs get in the way?
I mean, I think that's an easy way out of I don't know. There seems to be a popular conversation right now, which I don't really agree with. I think we have a lot of great fights, and fighters fight each other, and I've been involved with a lot of great fights. And
yes, you have.
Actually, part of my whole career was hearing the whole back and forth about Mayweather Pacquiao and why they weren't fighting each other and whose fault it was, and promoters and networks. And, you know, in the meantime, we had great fights from Manny Pacquiao and great fights from Floyd Mayweather. And, you know, everybody was excited when they finally got to fight. So, you know, timing and positioning, it's a business. Boxing is a business. And I think everybody, when they want something badly enough to happen, I think they feel that they're missing out on something that realistically probably wouldn't happen anyway. And I think that people should take more advantage of looking at the matchups that we have and realizing that we have a lot. I mean, boxing is packed with great fights right now. There's a lot of exciting fights happening, and I think people are getting their money's worth almost every night out there in the boxing world. So I don't really get into that argument. I think things happen for a reason, and I'm certainly excited about Errol Spence fighting Sean Porter, the best of the best at the 147-pound division, and David Benavidez and Andre Durrell, and the fights that happened before that. Pete Quillen's coming back the weekend before, and you know, what happened last weekend and what's about to happen in the fall. I just think we should be delighted that boxing is seen as much as it is right now on the different networks, especially like a Fox. I'm obviously associated with the Premier Boxing Champions right now, and so we have a relationship with Fox, and the exposure that boxing is getting on that Fox network this weekend coming up. You can't ask for not only exposure for the fight itself, but exposure for the sport. And I'm really excited that the sport's having the opportunity that it is to be able to make some headway in other people's homes, across sports fans. I've heard conversations happening about boxing now that I haven't heard in a while. So I think we're doing great as a sport, and I look forward to seeing all the fights, whether I'm working on them or not.
So, Kelly, you made one of your main points seem to be really expressing how many fighters there are today and how many fighters there are to choose from as far as fans are concerned and the different platforms to watch them on. Do you find that in the position you've been in, dealing with being a publicist, being PR members, things like that, dealing with these careers in certain directions and not necessarily telling these fighters where to go, but you've been very, a cog in the wheel, so to speak, as far as directing these fighters in the path they go down, because you also want to put on what's best for the fans. So do you find that in the time you've spent, it's gotten easier with the advancement of technology, or do you think it's gotten harder and more cluttered when trying to really isolate specific fights that you want to make important on a card of, like, say, 13 fights?
No, I mean, I always say about publicity that we don't reinvent the wheel. It's a wheel, right?
Yeah.
And so far, no matter what is happening as far as publicity, as far as social media and media outlets and everything, we're still the wheel that's rolling. So if you're good at it, then you just look at the landscape and figure out, well, where am I going to find the pockets of opportunity to let as many people as I'd like to know about this fight. And then I think the fighters are, throughout my whole career, I've loved working with the fighters because they have the best stories. And I think that because they don't, especially at the top level, because they don't fight as often, they are excited to get the publicity and receive the attention.
Oh, yeah, got to spread that brand out.
Yeah, and also, like, they look forward to people helping them understand what that means too. It's cool. Easy to say their brand, but I think sometimes fighters don't really even. They're looking to hear that, but deep down inside, they are probably just excited to fight.
Yeah, given how, like you said, how much space there is in between each fight, and they actually want to get there and showcase their craft.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden you train for 8 weeks, and you want the attention. I'd want the attention if I was in a hot boxing gym for 8 weeks and I was about to put my life on the line in the ring. So, absolutely, I like to help them as much as possible. Actually, this Thursday, I'm leaving Thursday morning from my office in New York City. I live in Brooklyn. Out to Dallas to help Errol Spence do his open media workout, which we're going to have at Texas Live. It's going to be outdoors. The fans are invited. We posted on social. We are promoting it through the radio stations in and around the Dallas market. We have a DJ, we have a ring, and we're really looking forward to the fans coming out and supporting him.
That sounds fun, actually.
He's gotten a lot of support in Dallas. The Cowboys love him. Jerry Jones loves him. So, I think he's doing a great job out there. But we'd like to make it fun and exciting. We have a really good fight week for the pay-per-view show. Some different things that we're doing that I think everybody's going to be excited about. And hopefully, if you're not there, you can see it on, we're streaming everything, which isn't unusual nowadays. People stream a lot of the events that they're doing.
You guys have any...
or the other PR people are involved.
Do you guys have any contests going on that fans listening might want to get in on? Do you guys have anything like that?
Yeah, they're giving away, like, I know there's somebody else that does the radio promotions for the fights. And, when we started the promotion, the fighters signed a whole bunch of gloves. So that's ongoing now that they're winning gloves. And I believe that there's a promotion going on now where somebody could win a free pay-per-view. I think that's happening through the Premier Boxing Champions. So, again, depending upon who's fighting, and what the targeted audience is, where we think the pockets of opportunity are happening in and around the country. Some fights skew west, some fights skew east. then we
Target
kind of set our
demographic.
game plan and go and do our thing.
Yeah.
You know, you mentioned opportunity a lot. I want to ask you this. On these big fights, on these exciting fights, what exactly do you look for when it comes to media? Because I'm sure every media in the world is putting applications for credentials. What exactly do you look for?
Well, it's not me that's looking for it. It's actually the promoter that's looking for it.
Okay.
And I think that the basic, what am I called? Not litmus test, but the line is like, what is the media outlet offering as far as helping sell the fight, right? Like
Right.
a lot of people want to go to the fight and a lot of people want to be there. And when everybody puts in their application, the bottom line is it is the promoter's decision. We're just kind of conduits that help get it organized for the promoter and then take it to them to look over the list. And I think it's really based on what your numbers are, so if you can show the promoter that you're actually helping. Now let's take a pay-per-view, for example, because it's a lot higher stake.
Right.
What people fail to realize is that it's super expensive for a promoter to put on a fight.
Very.
Super expensive. It looks all glorious and glitzy and all these top guys and everything, but the costs associated with having these fights, and especially in some of these bigger markets,
It's like making a movie.
it's really expensive, right? So in return, a smart promoter is going to say, okay, well, I'm giving all the media an opportunity to help me promote my fight. And if they can't move that needle at all, then does it justify letting somebody, or not letting somebody, but does it justify a credentialing process for that particular fight? So the more popular the fight is and the more media requests that come in, there's also a limit inside the arena as to how many seats are available. And that if you notice, like in Vegas, there's a media room only credential. So we try to be as fair as possible to everybody, but I think you do have to kind of show your value before it can be determined, the legitimacy of the outlet, really. That's what it comes down to.
Like looking at fighters, like, can
Yeah.
you sell tickets or not? Why should we put you on the card? Same thing, like, why
Exactly.
should we allow you a coverage spot that everybody wants if you're not going to make sure that our exposure gets out to the right people?
No, that's completely understandable. I agree with that, Cole. About the numbers and stuff. But there's also that Rocky story, like Andy Reese. He got that opportunity. I only brought
That's
it up because
true.
of opportunity. So
That's
once
true.
the opportunity is, then it can overshine a lot of people that have been there before, that have been comfortable, that have been content. How hungry are they? And it comes down to opportunity. And I know. When you first started, you were just driven. I mean, I read your story. I mean, things didn't come easy, but you were determined to make things happen, and you didn't take no for an answer. Tell us about your toughest deal that you put together.
In terms of what? In terms of a PR?
Yeah, well, okay, I'll say this for instance.
You mean the biggest promotion I worked on?
Sure, we'll say that. Was that very tough? And I'm talking about, that would have to be, I'm assuming, Pacquiao and Mayweather.
Well, Mayweather Pacquiao was definitely the most work and the biggest media turnout that I've ever had. And I mean, I worked at Bo Holyfield fights too, but I wasn't really, I was a part of the media team, but I wasn't really the lead. And so Mayweather Pacquiao, it was a lot of work and a lot of layers of, where we're going to put the media, how many seats were available. Again, people coming from all over the world, so we had to manage that really well. And,
Standing room only.
Yeah.
But Mayweather McGregor was also huge, and it was huge in a different kind of way because it scaled an entertainment event. And
Yes.
so we might not have had as many media requests. It was interesting because, like, for Mayweather Pacquiao, we had the major outlets, the New York Times, USA Today, LA Times, and they had multiple reporters covering that fight, which we had never seen before, right? Along with everybody else. But on Mayweather McGregor, we didn't have as many people come from the New York Times, but the person that came was more about an event. right? I mean, the
Right.
sports guy came too, but it was really the interest was a different kind of interest. We had a lot more celebrity outlets like E Entertainment
Yeah.
and Inside Hollywood, and so there was a cachet to that event that made it really exciting.
Crossover
That was a
fight.
lot of fun because it had a different feel and taste to it than a big boxing event.
Yeah,
So
like
I'd say out of those two were, from a work standpoint, those two were really big. Another big one was Mayweather Canelo. We did a 11
badass.
city media tour in about 9 days, and that's when we had the who are you picking? Was that who you picking? We went to all these cities. Everything was open to the public. We had to make sure that people showed up to be a part of the tour, and we ended up at the Staples Center outside on the last night of the tour in Los Angeles at night, red carpet event, and there were 20,000 people at Staples Center because the tour kept, every day there'd be a different news coming, and people started following that you could go and see these guys, and so that was really fun, and that was big. The media tours have actually been very fun and exciting, and probably just as much work as the fight week itself.
Well, I mean, there's not a boring moment in boxing. I mean, you're everywhere. I saw you were at the, of course, you were at the Pacquiao Thurman and fight. I introduced myself. I said hello to you, but
Yes, I remember. I was very happy to meet you because everybody said such nice things about you as well. So congratulations on all of your work. People told me a lot about you.
Well, I appreciate that, and hopefully soon in the future we'll be working together, and I'll be knocking on that door for that opportunity. The Fighter's Voice as a team will be professional as possible and will, and seize that opportunity once it's granted and once we have the privilege of working with you, one of your events.
Yeah, no problem. We look forward to having you.
Awesome. I got to ask you this. Okay, we're talking about the main event. I want to go back to the main event, Cole. We're talking about the main event. It's rare that you have a champion versus champion in the main event. But the co-main event, I'm telling you, this may steal the whole night. And I'm talking about Benavidez, there's been a lot of questions being asked of him because he went through some personal things, but who doesn't, okay? It's part of life. You go on, life lessons. But he's putting all personal things aside. And when I spoke to him actually at the Keith Thurman Pacquiao fight, and he said, Richard, I have something to prove beyond this fight. He said, I'm not looking ahead of my opponent because the opponent I have in front of me is very tough, but I have something to prove to the world that I am back in the middleweight division, and I plan on staying here and unifying the bouts. When you hear a statement like that, Callie, what goes through your mind? I mean, because I know you hear fighters over and over again say, well, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, but he's taking it personal that he wants to show the whole world. He's really putting the whole world on his back, so to speak, because he says, Richard, I want to show the entire world that I'm back.
I mean, if you can show us that that's the case, I think David Benavidez will be a longtime champion, a great champion. I'm very impressed with the young man. He's only 22 years old. He's already overcome professional and personal losses and a little bit of turmoil there. I mean, to think that happened to him so young, and now he's back on the road back is incredible. I love his family. I love the support that he gets from his dad, and I believe it's his brother or cousin or uncle. It's a solid boxing team, and I like to see that around a fighter too. So I wish him all the best because I think that he can be a big star in boxing. And I'll tell you, throughout this promotion, he's been nothing but generous with his time and doing tons of interviews, opening his gym up to anybody that requests that they would like to go in there and talk to him. And I wish him a lot of luck on Saturday night. But I tell you, he's fighting a pretty seasoned champion.
Yes, he is.
And he's got a lot of experience, and he comes from a huge boxing family. So I agree with you. I like that fight. I think that both sides have things that they can count on to try to get the win that night. So we'll see what happens.
Cole, when you hear that a fighter is fan-friendly, because you always said it's very important that the fighter gives back. Well, I'm talking about the press conference, taking pictures, meeting the fans. Of course, taking care of business when business is needed to take care of, but you always made it a point, as a fighter, always make time for the fans. When you hear a story about a fighter like that, so young, what's your impression on that fighter?
He's got the right people around him. like he has the right people in his ear.
As she just mentioned.
Yeah,
Yes.
he's being told, we need to do this. This is what champions do. If you want to be a champion, this is how it works. This is the character that you should be portraying as a champion. So he's putting himself in a really good spot. Like I said, it's the people around you. That's all it is. He has the right people around him versus, oh, hey, let's go get these, let's be about that money and let's be about this, that autographs this. No, you got to pay me if my gym wants to be open. None of that works out in your favor. There's like, you see people try it and that just doesn't work well for them in the long run.
Kelly, I gotta ask you this. It's just off to the left a little bit. What's one of the most difficult things you've had to deal with behind the scenes that nobody gets to hear about? They just see the show running so smoothly. Now you made it complete. You had to put a link in there. Whether the link fit or not, it had to get done. What's one of the most difficult things you had to smooth out behind the scenes that none of the fans and the public got to know about or recognize? Well, they recognize the result, but behind the scenes.
Yeah, I'll tell a really funny story that it's funny now, but it put me in a lot of tough position. And this is I would say out of everything that I do, like the fighter and his timing. If they're supposed to be somewhere at a certain time and they're late, and then there's late, and then there's really late. And the really late side is when we have to maneuver to figure out what we're going to do. But Floyd one time had a big shoot with Interview Magazine. And, of course, I was excited because it was crossover. I thought, wow, this is great. We're going to be in Interview Magazine. This helps him. It helps boxing. Oh, I can't wait for the shoot. And it was a shoot in New York City downtown. And so we set the time at, once Floyd got more comfortable in his career, and actually throughout his career, he stays up all night. He's a night owl. So when he was younger,
Plus he loves Taco Bell.
He could stay up late and then he could get up early and go do all the interviews. Well, as he got older, we always would schedule the interviews a little later. So but he was the hardest working fighter I've ever worked with, like hands down. That the minute we announced a promotion, Floyd did everything and anything we asked him to do, and that's why he got to be as great as he was. But of course, his talent in the ring, but he worked super hard, and that's probably something that people don't give him credit for either. Just a hard-working, very serious person, and to understand where he was going with his career and how he was going to get there. So he put in the work. But anyway, we were in New York, and the interview shoot, it was a photo shoot, and it was scheduled for 3 o'clock in the Village somewhere. And, of course, now it's 3:30, 4 o'clock, and I'm there advancing him because he's got his crew with him, and it's now getting on to be about 5 o'clock. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, please just show up. All I want you to do is show up. And these people, Interview Magazine, they're used to the stars. Floyd's not the first one to be late for anything. Athletes and actors, they always show up late if, they're on their own clock. But anyway, he didn't really mean it. It was just that he was slow as you go. And so finally I get the word that he's coming down the street. The driver's driving him down the street, and he pulls up. And of course I'm so excited. The photographer's excited. The people doing the shoot are excited. There must have been 100 pieces of clothes inside. They're going to help him pick out the clothes. There were 4 or 5 different shots we had to take with different wardrobe. So the shoot was going to take 3 hours in and of itself. And he pulls up to the door and he looks at his watch and he says, "Oh, hang on a minute. I have to go to the bank." And
Wow.
The next thing I know, he's off in his car, headed to the bank. And this is in New York City, where the bank is not around the corner.
Oh, wow.
I think he had a specific bank he had to go to, and I was left. I didn't get in the car with him and say, okay, I'm going to the bank because I'm going to avoid all these people that you are now going to wait another hour. But I believe that was one of those situations where you do the best that you can to make everybody happy and try to smooth out the relationship. And always when he got back from the bank, he probably made it back within a half hour, so it wasn't as bad as I had assumed. And he just went to work, and Floyd had the ability to walk in and apologize for his tardiness and get to work, and the people love him, and they get great pictures, and he stays until he gets the job done. Once he gets there, he's in no rush to get out of there. He gets the job done, and we had a beautiful spread in Interview Magazine. But in between that time and making sure that happened, it gets harrowing. It definitely gets harrowing for the person like me who's got to talk to the people who keep asking me, where is he, where is he, where is he?
Smooth things out.
And I'm calling Floyd, and he's telling me, if you call me one more time, I'm going to kill you.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So, yes, those situations are tricky. And of course, with the big events, things happen all the time, and you just have to be ready to handle any crises that comes your way. But with experience, you kind of anticipate that there could be some troubles, whether it's the microphones don't work or more of the mechanical issues can come into play a lot too.
Things you have no real control over, like you can't go and physically find
right.
someone that you know where they are, kind of thing.
Exactly. But you know what? If Floyd was ever to call in on this show, I'd wait for him. He can go to all the banks he wants. We'll chill here. We'll relax. We'll wait for him. We'll wait for that phone call, and we'll have some pizza while we're waiting or something.
Right.
And that's what happened. Everybody waits for the champ.
The champ, and then he comes in, the champ is here. Now, I can imagine after that, when it was all said and done, you had to have a glass of wine and just relax and say, okay, I did it. It's done with.
Oh, that happens. That will happen Sunday the 29th.
There you go, right after the fight.
That happens every day or every hour. Once the fight is over and we're walking back to the hotel. I mean, on the East Coast, those fights get really late, right? So when we're finally out of the arena after the post-fight press conference, you can't help but exhale.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, any closing words, Cole?
No, we really appreciate you sharing your stories with us, Kel, and giving us kind of an insight on things that we would have not known otherwise. I mean, just the Mayweather story alone was hilarious. That's such a stressful scenario.
You could actually vision it.
Oh yeah, I could just imagine her standing out front of the photo shoot building, and he's just like,
and they're bringing in all the clothes.
Yeah, they're bringing the clothes out. Camera guy's getting his bulbs ready
to go. I think the smoke machine was already on.
Oh wow! Screen.
When I heard that he was on his way, I'm like, oh, he's on his way. He'll be here any minute.
Screen,
and he pulls up, and the photographer is there, and everybody's there. Oh, Floyd. He looks out the window, and he looks at his watch, and he's like, oh, sorry, I got to go to the bank.
Yeah, you know what? The bank was going to probably close soon. I bet you that's why. Because he looked at how late he was already. He's like, oh, I still got to go to the bank.
Well, you know what?
That was the problem. He knew the bank was going to close, so he had to go.
Well, see, I think Floyd has all this money. He probably owns the bank. Probably has his own key and says, I'm going to go home real quick.
Let me run to my wallet real quick.
Yeah, exactly.
But just thanks for coming on and sharing the stories with us. We love it when we can get guests on to actually have real, genuine, just old school stories to share and just things you wouldn't normally hear about.
Well, no problem, and I congratulate you on your success and keep going, and I look forward to seeing you at every fight sooner rather than later.
Okay, hey, actually, we did put in for this fight, and we hope to see you soon. And just to let you know, hey, if Errol Spence or Sean Porter want to come on the show, give us a call. We'll help promote the fight. We'll push it. We're here. We're that platform to help you and the rest of the viewers, the fans, and all the followers. That's what we're here for.
Okay, great. Well, I will let them know.
I appreciate that. Hey, once again, ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, Callie Swanson, president of Swanson Communications, the first, the last, and she is simply the best. Class act. Thanks for taking time and coming on the show. Have a good evening.
Okay, thanks so much. You
Okay.
too. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Cole, it never ceases to amaze me on the people that come to this show, the platform. And as soon as she said, okay, let me tell you a story, there was comfort there. She trusted us. She felt comfortable, and that was one hell of a story. It was because you can vision it, and you know that happened too. You know it did.
Yeah, I've been wanting to run a tournament, and all of a sudden the whole power in a casino goes out because the TV crew was trying to pull too much wattage out of the breakers, and it didn't handle it, and it breakers went off, everything shut off, and you're just like, oh, come on. So yeah.
I was thinking he was going to the bank just to get some money, so that's part of the shot. You know, that's what I was thinking, right, to put it right there. Right?
But I was thinking, you know, if you looked at what time it was, if he barely showed up at like 5 almost, he probably looked down and said, man, I was supposed to go to the bank today. I got to get money still. You know what? You all ain't going nowhere. Take me to the bank. Like, that's how he sees it. It's just like, I have to be to the bank before it closes. You're not going anywhere. He knows you're not.
Just go and set it away from me. I'll be right there.
Get comfortable. Get that smoke machine going.
Yeah, exactly. Get the smoke show going.
At the same time, he can do that because at the end of the day, he knows that he's literally rewritten the book on how to be a champion boxer. Hit, but don't get hit. He's literally rewrote the science almost of how you should move and fight now. And it's like, oh my God.
And a lot of people come and try to mimic that, but if they don't have the athletic ability or the God-given talent, they ended up paying the price. Because there's only one Floyd, there's only one Ali, only one Roy Jones, etc. Be the best of yourself, I would say.
Right? Dominic Cruz.
Yeah.
For the long time, people would try to emulate what he did, and they would get messed up.
Yeah.
But it took, I think, TJ came in. TJ and Cody were the first two to, and they kind of did it at the same time, really start to emulate what he did, and you could see them doing it. The footwork, the switching stances and stuff, the hitting you from afar, really on the bicycle kind of thing. Like the cardio was through the roof, and they were the first ones that not only kind of did it, but they were doing it right, and they kind of both did it at the same time because they were kind of cut from the same gyms. Even though TJ went up to Dwayne's, but beforehand they spent years all together. So. But he kind of they went with it, and they were the first two to really give Dominic, a good run for the money at first because they were the first ones to really simulate what he did. And for most of his career, he was fighting against people who just couldn't handle how he fought. They couldn't handle the footwork, the speed, the length, the reach, and the way he moved because nobody was doing it. So you're always fighting these guys that are kind of similar in how they move, and you come across a Cruz who's just way out there. It takes like time and evolution to catch up.
Now there's influence, right? Okay, I was influenced by him. I was motivated by him. I've watched him. He made me want to be the person I am. But then you still got to take your own style because his style may not work for you.
No, exactly. And it didn't work for a lot of people. And he would catch
people
doing
it. He motivates people, though.
He definitely does. He's, like I said, he's one of those guys that like GSP, the Randy Couture's, the Chuck Liddells, they advance, even though they're in different weight classes, they advance the sport to a point to where now everybody has to change to catch up. And that's why he was so dominant for so long, is because injuries were the only things really keeping him down, because he changed the way the smaller guys should move.
Right.
Really utilized that guerrilla tactic warfare. I'm going to be really fast, in and out, boom, boom, boom. I'm going to have you burning all kinds of energy, pop, 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 and I'm gone. And a lot of boxers could simulate that. Lemachenko, I guess, he could simulate that all day. But that's for boxing. With MMA, you got to be worried about the
There's certain things you can't teach.
Yeah, exactly. They knew it way before everybody else did. It's like they were psychic, and they just knew the direction the sport was going to go and how to be successful first. And they just changed and did it. Of course, they came natural to guys like Cruz.
Yeah.
But everybody else is playing, how do we get good at that?
Yeah. Especially, look at the job she does. Look at the job Callie does. You can simulate it, you can try, but at the end of the day, how many people can make that work? How do you turn around and explain, okay, well, they were already waiting a couple hours. He leaves Floyd Mayweather to go get some money to the bank, and she made it work.
Oh, yeah.
And to be able to tell that story.
I think she was thinking he was going to be like an hour or two.
Yeah,
he was probably going to go get food and then be like, I'm hungry. And then they just would never hear from him again that day.
Man, and all the mega fights that she's been involved in.
Yeah.
The mega fights, the biggest fights in the world.
I like how she recognized that same thing I saw too, is that the McGregor-Mayweather fight took on a whole different entertainment element.
Exactly.
It was like a crossover comic book happening where the marketing for it was just different.
People were curious. They wanted to find out what was going to go on and exactly how it was going to take place.
Like she said, there was less from like some of the other places, but the people that were there had a deeper understanding of what was going on and the entertainment aspect of what was really going on. Because you got to remember, being in Kelly's position, I would compare a lot to a lawyer having to pick a jury. There's going to be some jurors where you're like, I don't want any single guys over 40 on the jury, or I don't want any married women without kids on the jury. If they're married, I want them to have kids. And you can ask these kind of questions like, do you have children? Are they alive? This and that. Because you are looking for a certain juror that will sympathize and feel for your client. And that's how you pick a jury. So in the same way, she's stuck with that same position where you got to pick fighters based on what story can you sell. So you have to pick journalists that you want to bring in or media that you want to bring in, that they're going to paint the same scenario that you want painted, but you need them to paint for you. But you know that they're going to paint what you want to paint. And so that's why you have to pick them specifically based on what fighters do you have. That was a very heavy entertainment-based fight that she talked about on that one. That's why there was guys that were more not just sports coverage. They did entertainment coverage as well, so they knew how to write it. You know what I mean?
What says a lot is Floyd Mayweather can have anybody he wants.
Oh, yeah.
Him, and look who he chose, the best.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he only rolls with the best. JT, Bassmaster, good evening, my man. Hey, he said, what's up, Richard? Hey, what's up? How's everything going over there? Let me see who else is there. Mark Davis said, I can't hear you. And he goes, LOL, I'm just kidding. Okay, well, yeah. Mark Davis was the one calling me on the phone. So, ladies and gentlemen, when you heard the phone going off and off, it was Mark Davis calling. It was. And I want to give a shout out to Saul Lomas, the Latin Cobra from Fresno, California. We had a deep conversation today. That's between me and him only.
Ooh.
But it was good.
Yeah?
It was good. He'll be dropping some news soon.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. It was a good conversation, man. It was. I haven't talked to him in a while. It's been a while, man. You know when you run into an old friend or run into an old buddy and you're thinking, I wonder what he's doing now. Let me reach out to him. And it went well. It was a good conversation.
Nice.
Good conversation.
Speaking of conversations, actually, that brings up a good, that segue into the Faber thing and the Garbrandt talks as far as what they're going to do with their careers next.
Oh,
Where
not
are they
facing
going?
each other.
No,
No.
Faber, for example, they were asking, hey, you had your fight back. There was a good fight. You got a good win. Was it one and done? So you have to watch the clip on it. I don't give anything away, but you have to watch the clip on it. But he kind of explains at least what he wants out of it and where he feels the direction he wants to go in. So it's a good little segue in that. But then Garbrandt was coming off the wrist injury.
Yeah.
He gave a video interview real quick, too, about where his timeline, because this was back in March when he hurt his wrist. So he's trying to talk about if he's going to have a 2019 fight or not, or if it's going to have to be early 2020. My guess would be like January, March, somewhere in there. I don't, because with October, November, he'd have to fight maybe December would be the absolute soonest I would see him fight. And I could see an end of year card maybe. Maybe it won't be a fight night. It'll definitely be a pay-per-view. I don't think you'd see Garbrandt on a fight night. Maybe, I don't know. He has a couple dips in the win column there a little bit.
Speaking of this, man, I mean, I've always said talk existence into it. And I always refer to the Bible because there's where it's at. We call things if they're not as if they are. Well, I'll let Cole tell the story. Last time we were on the show, we talked about, wouldn't it be cool if Spider Silva reached out to Big Al Gonzalez because of the same leg break? I think Al's was a little worse. That's just my take on that. It was pretty rough. And we asked, hey, is anybody out there and the powers that be? And I believe you said you already put in a text. And talk to us on how that went.
It's just my relation with his manager is I was in a fortunate position to ask him if it was something that maybe he could help. And Ed's a super cool guy, and Anderson's a super cool guy. He didn't even really hesitate. But I'm fortunate enough to where I've built those relationships with guys like that, so that when things like that come up and there's clearly an opportunity to like say something, I can at least try.
You know what I like the fact though? Oh, do we? Well, let's roll that. Yeah, let's roll that.
Hey Albert, how you doing, man? I have a guy here to send you a message about the accident that happened in your fight last week.
Hey my brother, what's going on, man? Let me tell you something. This is very important. Doesn't matter happen in your life now, just keep doing it and be careful, just take your time, start the physiotherapy. This is very important, and I see you very soon. Albert. It's not my Albert, but it's Albert. Hey, I talk serious, bro. Just do it, I know it's hard. It's tough. This happened to you, but let's do it, okay? You need me? Let me know. I'm here for help you.
There you go, Albert. Quick recovery, man.
Absolutely, bro. God bless you.
I like the thumbs up, though, man. That was cool. But you know what I was impressed with the most? Hey, Robert, I see you watching right here. Hey, Jose Carrillo, I see you watching right here. Chris, I see you watching. Hey, what's up? What's up happening, man? I think you're doing a good job with your MMA Fight Pass. Keep up the good work, man. Is you have the opportunity, and this is what I like, and I'm impressed with it. I get goosebumps talking about it. And I knew you had that relationship. I could have said, hey, Cole, do you think Spider will call on the show? On the show? No. Put what people need first. This show is going to be blessed. It's going to work itself. And it happened. And he's just living. I mean, he has a great attitude anyways. And to hear him say, you know what, I have more of a reason now to want to go forward. I will be back. I am going to back. Now, I don't know confirmation, but I did hear rumor that he's on his way to San Jose, California to sign a 3-fight deal with Bellator to become an exclusive Bellator fighter.
You know, if I were Bellator and I was smart, I would do the same thing. I've watched clips of the fight, so from Bellator's standpoint, I would be looking at, okay, so he's got a following. The kid can put on a decent fight. Leg breaks happen. Injuries happen. He could have thrown a spinning back elbow and broke his arm by his arm wrapping around the guy's head. It doesn't matter. A cut could have happened. So you know you have a fighter that'll fight for you. You know you have a fighter that has fans that will travel, because he brought a lot of people up there, travel people, not just that area. Like, people drove. So they know that they can put him on a card and get people coming. 2, I mean, if some dude broke his leg on my card, I'd want to give him a couple more fights, dude, just to be like, hey, dude, no hard feelings. Like, we want you to fight for us. But realistically, they're looking at what he can do ticket-wise. They're looking at he comes to fight. And they're looking at the fact that how often do you see a guy?
That's a great picture right there.
How often do you see a dude promote getting his legs snapped?
He embraced it.
Exactly, he embraced the heck out of it. So he really got out there and really said, no, this is just a setback. That's all this is. I have zero intention of stopping. I mean, dude's been shot 9 times. A broken leg's not going to stop him.
No.
That's not going to. Now, the question is when he goes back, is he going to make any adjustments that are needed? Is he going to rehab correctly? Is he going to try to push it too far? All I hope is that he does exactly what the rehab doctors say. Don't listen to anybody that doesn't know what they're talking about. And before you make any changes in things like your rehab or anything, talk to your coach, talk to your rehab coach, and say, hey, somebody was telling me this idea that they thought might help me. I haven't done any of it yet, but I wanted to pick your brain on it. Like, what do you think about this? And the rehab guy may go, oh yeah, dude, 100%. You can do that at home. I was actually going to talk about that like next week when we got into that workout. But yeah, dude, totally. Here's how we do it. Here's how you would do it at home. Or he may say, please don't. Don't do that, please.
No, exactly. And being as humble as possible. I get a lot of inboxes. Hey, what does it take to be on the Fighter's Voice? Hey, I want to be on the Fighter's Voice. And I always say the same thing. What's your story? What's going on? Do you have a manager? Do you have a sponsor? Or what's going on? You got a fight date? I got an inbox from Al today. He said, I got to get back on that show. And we just got to bump him up to the top, man. We really do. I want to hear his story. I want to hear the excitement, because I don't want to embrace the kid and then not be who we say we are.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing too. Is you don't ever want to, as a journalist alone, you don't ever want to paint yourself, or as a media outlet, you don't ever want to paint yourself into a corner of, well, we only want to have you on and interact with you which is business, but at the same time, you don't ever want somebody to feel that, oh, well, you can't do anything right now, so we have no interest. It's like, well, you're just a person of interest, period, is why we brought you on the show. You just happen to be involved in the sport that we look for interesting people in. You're an extreme sport person. You're fighting something. You're fighting to change your life. You're trying to fight to change circles of those around you. Yeah. Like, those are all things that we want people to be here. We want them to be heard. We want their voice to be heard. So I think it's totally fine to have him on again. And like I said, no, I have never seen anybody embrace a bad snap like that. As well, it's usually like, okay, guys, after surgery, I'm doing good. Appreciate the health and support. I'll keep you guys updated. No, he was like, dude, check out my leg. Yeah. Bro, he had the video up. He was goes, like, dude, you want to be a fighter? Bad. He goes, do you want to be a fighter? Yeah, dude. And that's showing people, like, stuff like that happens. You could be the best. Anderson Silva couldn't have been a better person, I think, to give him the motivation and the right message of, I've literally been where you are. Yep. Injuries happen. Do your rehab, and you're fine. Like, that's it.
The advantage that Big Al has is he's younger.
Super young. He's going to heal really fast. And like I said, as long as he just, this isn't me saying he won't, it's just because I've seen so many people rush rehab, do home things that their buddies tell them, do things they shouldn't do, don't follow the doctor's orders.
You never put gas at a mom and pop's gas station. Okay, go to the best. Unless, hey, you're on E, you do what you got to do.
Yeah, I mean.
But I'm talking about the good rehab, the good surroundings, not because, hey, let's try this.
Or like, oh, I think this will get it quicker. No, you know what I mean? Like, unless you're
let me put oil on it or something.
Yeah.
Light a santito. That is not happening here. That's not working.
Like I said, right people around you.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
And he'll have. We've never questioned the people he has around him. It always sounds like they're our best interest.
And you know what? I love his faith. I love his faith in God, and so I believe his healing process is already going to take off. And I will see the positive in things. When people come in here and they may lose a fight or they may not get the decision, I still see their careers blossom. They still take off. And it's just this show is blessed, and I'll say it over and over again. And the whole crew, everybody around us, man. And it's just, we're just another show, just like everybody else, but we're just a little different, that's all.
We are fortunate with what we've done so far. You are
exactly,
right,
exactly.
I do agree. But he's definitely pushing. Like,
he just has a great attitude, man.
He does that, and that's probably, I mean, getting asked for Bellator to come back and say, hey, we need you to sign another contract. I mean, at that point, he's just like, so, Doc, how fast is this really going to take?
Can you imagine the drive he has now hearing that?
Oh, man.
Compared to depression or it's not going to happen. They go, no, we have faith in you.
Yeah, because at some point, they could have made a phone call and said, hey, let us know when his leg's going to be better.
Yeah.
And then, we'd love to find a spot for him again. You know, he did a good fight. Versus them calling and saying, hey, you did a good job, and, you know, we love what you're doing. We love your attitude. We love the promotion you put behind yourself, because he did a lot of promoting up there, thanked the right people, did what he's supposed to do. And they like that. And this is like, if you're watching and listening, guys, this is another example of when things like this happen, you have to treat it this way. You have to have this approach, because if you don't, and you don't have that approach from the get-go, you're not setting the tone for what your value is to them. You can't just walk in. I mean, if you just want to walk in, just be like, hey, what's up? Where do I sign? Where's Cage? Unless you're knocking fools out in the first round.
Where's Cage?
You know what I mean? Like, unless you just are just dropping fools in the first round.
Like LeVar?
Yeah, like if you're just dogging people, dude, then you can get away with not having to be out there as much, because it's just the mysteriousness of you, and it's like, how does he go out there and just kill people? Like, what's his secret? What's his, what makes him tick? That alone is what you build your interest in, because everybody wants to know, and you're not telling anyone. But he's out there. He's promoting the fight. He promoted the fight very well. Yeah. Did what he could, said, hey, I'm on the undercard. This is a great opportunity. I want to win this fight, move my way up. I want to be on the poster next time. Just all the right positiveness. And so they see that. And then when you have an unfortunateness like this.
Hashtag the storyline.
Yeah, exactly. And everybody loves a comeback story.
Absolutely.
Everybody loves his attitude about it. He's had the right attitude. He doesn't blame the other guy. I think the only thing I saw about him saying to the other guy was, hey, dude, I broke my leg when you checked it. That's all that happened. I kicked wrong. You shouldn't be celebrating like that. Like, you didn't beat me. Like, I goofed.
Yeah.
I made the mistake. You just did what you're supposed to do and checked the kick. I did it wrong. Yeah. And it's the guy celebrating, but I can understand the excitement for him. But he was also like, hey, simmer down. Yeah. Daddy will be back. You know what I mean? Like, exactly. So it's what it is. I love his attitude, and Bellator seems clearly, obviously, to agree.
Yeah,
you know
absolutely,
what I mean?
Absolutely. But I'll tell you, what I'm looking forward to this Saturday? Big LeVar Johnson getting right back in there.
Yeah, that's going to be good. Yeah. I'm super stoked for that.
No, exactly. And Ken Shamrock, he was interviewing. There we are right there.
Ken's been interviewing everybody.
Everybody. He was there with Chuck. He was there with.
I see him with the mic all the time now.
No, he's doing well.
Yeah, I like it. He's really made sure that he is literally out there as much as he can to be the face.
Some people from his camp tagged me earlier. I got to go through all the messages, and
dude, I bet you get tagged more than a playground, dude.
Okay, I'd rather you say the playground than what you really wanted to say.
No, like,
this is the radio part.
Kids playing tag on the playground.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, okay, that makes more sense.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And you know what I was going to tell you? It's class act today, Cole, because you're always our class act. One important thing I forgot to tell you before the show. Okay, no cussing when she's on the air.
Yeah,
and you did great. You knew that. You recognized that.
No, yeah,
you did. But I do love the
very
more Cole, the adjustment
leashed.
Cole. No, exactly.
I got to think before I talk, kind of.
No,
at least on a podcast, I could just explore out garbage.
You're a professional 100.
Yeah, no, it's
all good.
Radio's radio, man. I like it.
No,
I can actually carry a conversation on without dropping F-bombs. It's amazing.
I know you can.
It's amazing.
I know you can. I know you can. But let's talk about Big LeVar Johnson. He's leaving, I believe, Wednesday morning.
Okay.
He was actually going to shoot a double show, come back tonight, but he had a mandatory meeting that he had to attend leading up to the fight, and I understand that. Richard Goodman was going to try to make it as well, but he was even going to try an on-location phone call. But it's media all there, and I wanted his attention there, you know? I mean, he needs to take care of that. I definitely want to have LeVar back when he comes back on the show, and Richard Goodman as well. And actually, we're going to be releasing a two-part video of LeVar Johnson, who's been asking about that. And it's just, I think that video is going to speak for itself. It's going to change some lives and clarify a lot of things that people are not clear on. And it's going to do some good. It's some justice, I would say.
Good. I mean, now is the perfect opportunity to say anything he wants to say. Yeah. And I don't mean it in a sense of I could just say whatever I want. It's there's a window where he can get some things off his chest.
He's a professional. He knows how to handle himself on the microphone.
No, he's very articulate.
Yes.
It's people think that just because he's a swinger that
okay, wait. With left and right, hey, I said something. LeVar got kind of upset. He didn't say nothing on camera, but he goes,
like
"But he goes, hey, big
show,
homie, you gonna say that?"
Right.
Like, so now you said something. LeVar's coming after you, not
like
me.
I should say phrasing. Like there should be a term. It's like an archer phrasing. No, like they think that just because he's a striker and a swinger and a fighter that they're not going to be articulate. And
you may be right.
Not everybody is, but he's actually really articulate. Like he has a
very smart man.
He knows what he's talking about. So there's this window where, now that he's about to step back into the ring, he's being given an opportunity that a lot of guys don't realize is a window to get everything off my chest, a window to make a clear picture, give some perspective, and tell people what I've been wanting to tell them. And then this way, we can all just move on and start worrying about LeVar's next fight and what happens after LeVar's next fight, et cetera, and so forth. Exactly. Like, worry about LeVar the fighter. That's what we want you to focus on now is let's focus on LeVar the fighter and what he's doing with his career now. And valor is the first step. And that's, there's a window for that, and he's taking full advantage of that, and I like it.
No, he is. I'm excited about that. One thing I do want to say is one of my favorite fighters, as you know, I'm wearing Isidro Ochoa's shirt right here, Top Rank Boxing, right? Isidro took his first loss this Saturday.
Ooh.
His first loss as a professional. His trainer, Robert Garcia, Hall of Fame trainer, knows what's best, didn't allow Isidro to answer round 6, didn't allow him to go back out there. Isidro's very young career, and I think Robert made the right decision. Isidro has a great attitude and says, I'm going to be back. It's an eye-opener. It motivates me, and I love his attitude. But, in the sport, with the exception of Mayweather, and people can even argue on some of his record on that, and some of the fighters that were close, but that's neither here or there. Muhammad Ali lost, so it's not the end of the world.
Everyone loses. Khabib's eventually going to lose.
Yeah?
Everybody loses. An undefeated record will never create a true champion.
No.
Just for the fact that you have to understand what it feels like to lose so that you never want to feel that way again. Because everybody wants to win and never lose, but until you've actually lost and you know what it feels like, you'll never really be the best you can be. There's always there's a better Khabib that we haven't seen yet. Yeah. And we won't see it until he loses. And if he chooses to come back and go for the run again, you're going to see the best Khabib we'll have ever seen, because there's something he's felt now that no human being fighter wants to feel ever again. And a lot of them will do whatever it takes not to feel that way again. And he'll probably be one of those guys. But you have to lose.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to.
Well, I was talking to Lee Samuels. We were going back and forth. And I said, hey, man, it would be awesome to get this guy on the show. And he said, okay, email this guy. He can make it happen, so to speak. Give him an email. So I'm working on that, and I'm going to go ahead and call it right now. That in the future, we're going to email, we're going to ask Evan from Top Rank if he can have Tyson Fury call the Fighter's Voice, and we can do an interview on the show.
That'd be cool.
So he has a story to tell, and especially I like, and I want to talk to him not just about boxing, but about how he fought depression, how he's turned his life around.
Something besides just boxing, like ask him like human questions. Yeah, no, that'd be a good guy to do.
But I want to ask him, and that's a cold nickname, the Gypsy King.
Yeah, dude, that's pretty cool.
That is.
I'd like to hear how he got that. I've yet to hear how he got it.
Yeah, well, you know how he got the name Tyson, of course.
Yeah,
his dad named after Mike Tyson. Yeah,
but to have Gypsy King.
Yeah, there he is right there. And he had a very bad, ugly cut Saturday.
Yeah, I saw a picture
of that.
But
he showed a lot of heart and tenacity just to completely finish the fight, because they were on the verge of stopping it. So I give his cut man props as well, even though he put a lot of glob in there. Had to do it. at the end of the day, it worked. Whatever it takes to make it work. Just like Callie said, whatever it takes to get the job done.
Yeah.
In a tough spot.
Tell them he'll be right back.
Yeah.
Don't worry, he'll be right back.
Yeah, he'll be right back.
He's just running to the bank real quick. ATM, you know how it is. But yeah, and unfortunately, when you have really bad, cuts like that, where you have to push through and stuff, sometimes you'll hit a certain ceiling in your career path about your ability, and you unfortunately have to hit those ceilings sometimes in order to know what changes you need to make. And unfortunately, that comes in sometimes the form of a loss, but sometimes it comes in the form of like just getting whooped on for a round or two, and you got to go on the fly. What changes do I need to make? Because that guy just split my face open. We need to do something different.
Well, a lot of people are judging on his last performance, and they're saying, okay, judging by his last performance, okay, he's fallen all the way down the totem pole. But a lot of those fighters that are on top, they've never been in a situation. He was able to overcome adversity and get the victory.
Yeah, exactly.
So going into his next fight, been there, done that, so to speak.
Exactly. So that's where rankings get tricky sometimes.
Yeah.
Because you're like, well, this guy's won like 2 or 3 in a row.
Yeah.
But he hasn't had a fight yet like Tyson just had. Like, he hasn't had one of those at all. We've never seen that from him. So why don't we just go ahead and move him on up here with his story, and that makes for a better ranking spot. And that's where it's tough sometimes, is it's totally justified.
Yeah.
But people be like, oh, well, wins versus... No, you have to look at the whole picture. Like, what is a guy really capable of should be how you look at his ranking.
Exactly, and you know what? That can go on and on, because some people, they'll rank a fighter before he even wins or loses. They already have their mindset, and unfortunately, we have to go through that. Yeah. But I do want to say, also on the undercard was Stockton's own Gabriel Flores Jr., who remains undefeated, who was just a hot prospect on his way to becoming a contender in that division, in his weight class. I mean, the guy, again, he has a lot to work with. He has some God-given talent, has a great team, and marketing himself really well. And again, he's one that Rick Meridian's, I guess one of his PRs or
I always see Rick.
Somewhere on his, as long as you have Rick somewhere on your team, I don't even care if he's in charge of taking out the garbage. That may be a bad example. That garbage is going to come back full of money, full of gold, and just
everything
it's going to look nice, whatever he's involved in. It may not be your style or what you're accustomed to, but it's going to prosper.
He gets the job done.
Yes, exactly. But Gabriel Sr. is definitely the boss. He is definitely in charge. Everything goes through Gabriel Sr., and he's doing a great job.
No, that's good.
No, and that father-son relationship is working very well.
And sometimes that dynamic does work really well. Sometimes it doesn't. Yeah. But there's times where when it does, it just works. It works well, period. Like, it's just a good dynamic for them. It's beneficial for both.
Yeah, it is. It is. Now, I want to talk about, and we got plenty of time to talk about, and I had some interviews, some sound bites with Errol Spence and Sean Porter and Benavidez, David Benavidez, and I don't want to release them just yet. I'll probably release them as we go into next week, maybe one or two
like
here.
Fight week starts to come
closer.
Exactly,
because we still got some great sound bites from Ken Shamrock talking about his event that we're going to release tomorrow.
That's on Saturday.
And, yes, and absolutely, and LeVar Johnson as well. So
no, that's
it's
good.
all about timing. You just get, let it all go right now.
You got to feed them into the event.
Exactly.
That's just
what KP said. It's all about timing.
Everything's about timing.
It's about timing, man.
Everything.
And opportunity.
Life, everything.
Hey,
not just fighting.
Hey, you know what? If you don't ask, you don't receive, man.
Yeah. No.
I just wanted her to know that we're in existence and that we're hungry and that we want it. That's all.
You just want to. You got to put it out there.
Exactly. So and I got to thank Mike Rodriguez, Freddie Roach, Marie, and of course Sean Gibbons, man, for giving the good word. But at the end of the day, they're careful on who they give a good word to. You got to be able to be that person.
Yeah, because everybody just wants you to give them a good reference, so you kind of have to.
You can't do that all the time.
Yeah, you got to be picky and choosy, because you can't give references to your buddies just because you do like them.
Yeah,
it's like she said, can you push the needle? And that's all that matters. Even if you push it a little in their direction, that's all that matters.
That is our link that we need right there. Yeah, that is our link. And once we get that link, then I want to continue. I like the way we're able to put on I want to say world-class or top-notch names in the business, in the sport, and then still keep it local and still keep it balanced, where we are who we say we are. And, things may change, but we are always going to be true to our area. And that's 559, 209, et cetera.
And that's just about it. Like the kid we had on that does the speed racing.
Oh, yeah. Yes, exactly.
Like, I haven't seen him do
I was waiting for my
stuff.
tickets, too, because he goes, I'm going to give you some tickets, and you guys need to show up.
That kid seems like he is all over the place right now. Like, he really does. Like, it seems he's all over the place.
No, but he has that fire, though, and his dad seems to be supporting him and backing him.
I got to see about getting Justin's kid on then. I got to talk to Justin. His kid's like a stock car racer,
Yeah, let's mix
That's what
that
he
up.
does. That's what, like, that kid's young, and like I've raced against that kid.
Okay, well, since we're unleashing, we got a guy. He just inboxed me. He's from my hometown, and he's been fighting a disease for, I believe it's 10 years. And he said, "Hey, what does it take to get on the Fighter's Voice?" And I said, "What's your story? What's going on?" And he says, "Well, I'm fighting this disease. It's the same disease as Freddie Roach." And he says, "Boxing has given me an avenue, along with his faith with God, given me an avenue and a reason to live and a reason to push." And I want to hear the guy's story, man. Oh, absolutely.
That's not
Absolutely.
something easy to fight.
No,
That's
it's not.
something that you can't just like, oh, I rehab my arm because I had a shoulder surgery or something. It's something that you're probably daily competing.
There's a lot of
against.
emotion that goes through that. Anytime rehabbing or just in when you hit a roadblock in life in general. I know, but I'm glad they have this platform. We're going to offer it to them. I'm looking forward to Enoch. I guess he's going to be fighting soon.
Yeah, he's been putting some promo stuff out there, getting his vibe back into the currency.
And he got
of media.
sponsored by, what was it, Pickle Burger or something?
Yeah, Pickle Burger and
Or salty pickle.
Salty Pickle, yeah, the
something
salty
like that.
pickle.
You said you were going to take us out there.
And it's out there in Kalinga, I think.
Yeah.
Most of his sponsors
Yeah.
are out there in Kalinga, which actually, it sounds so far when you think about how far Kalinga is.
Yeah.
And given the kind of crowd following he's got from Fresno. Fresno's huge when it comes to MMA, man.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's good. No, yeah, it's the salty pickle. And
The
I still don't know what that
The
is.
salty pickle.
I don't know if it's a burger joint or something.
He said, that's what he said.
Is it a
He
burger
said,
joint?
yeah, he said it's the best hamburgers in the world, he said.
Oh, man, I don't know. Fat Jack's is pretty good. Fat Jack's, In-N-Out, that's...
All free plugs, but it's okay. I mean, they're all good, though. I mean, hey.
It's a debatable topic.
No, it is. And one day we'll settle it. We'll just have, Saul Lomas is watching. Saul, my man, the Latin Cobra. Man, I wish I can.
That's a good name.
No, I gave him my word. Oh, it is a good name.
That's a good name.
No, Saul Lomas, the Latin Cobra.
But the ladies love saying it.
Well, he loves the ladies.
Well, with a name like the Latin Cobra, I mean...
yeah, because they asked him, they go, "Where'd you get that name from?" And then uncensored. So then, he kept it to himself. And he has skill. He's a barber as well.
Nice.
So he cuts hair.
good
And
with the
also, I
clippers.
think, what has he got? Cobra Vision. A photographer.
Oh, cool.
Yes. In the bottom it says females only. I like that. No, it's not. It's open to everybody, but he has his
I was going to say, dude, as soon as we post it, he's going to be on. I'll
he has
tell all
his
the ladies
preference.
to
Right
listen
now,
in.
he's going to call me and say, "Richard, okay."
Well, I'll just tell all my model friend girls and just say, hey, we're going to have a guy on. He only wants to do females, guys. It's Cobra Vision.
I will say this about him, man. He has this smooth pivot. His left hook comes all the way down, back from his culo, his ass, to his toes. I mean, he just torques it. When he lands it, it's a wrap.
He's hitting it to take your soul. He's not hitting it to hurt you. He's hitting it to take your soul through as he punches through you. Your soul comes with.
No, exactly. He punches through you, and
That's
a lot of people punch your chin or they try to hit the right
Body
spot.
shots will do
No,
that,
he
man.
punches through you.
That's where the soul
I
is.
miss seeing him in the ring, man.
I got to dig through your body to get your soul out.
Exactly.
It hurts the whole
Who's the
way.
one that said Evan Solario? He goes, "Man, I'll tell you to tell." No,
Yeah.
A fighter was describing Evan Solario, and he goes, "Man,
He'll take your soul,
he goes,
man.
he took his soul, man."
how
He goes,
dude-
"You could literally see his soul just leave his body."
So I'm telling you, because he doesn't just hit you; he hits to hit through you, and
Exactly.
to just everything Evan throws is to do damage to you. It's
Yeah.
not for points. It's not to look fancy. It's just if I throw this, I'm throwing it to hurt you. It's like shooting a gun. Like I'm not shooting it for fun. I'm shooting it to hurt you or to kill you. Every punch he throws, it's just built and designed to just end it. It could be punch number 1 or punch number 12.
Hey, it just ended. And speaking of the news today, which honestly I wasn't aware of, and good thing I have social media, I would love to be a part of. Jose Ramirez was honored by a statue
that.
today. Yeah, I guess at the Fresno Fairgrounds, I believe.
I think it was not really last minute, but I think it was just they wanted to make it real, just kind of like in the moment thing. I
Yeah.
think is what they shot for, and they did. And I saw the statue, and it's actually a pretty good likeness. It almost looks like it's made out of bronze. Is it
Yeah,
bronze
yeah,
statue?
yeah, it looks pretty nice.
No,
It
it's
looks
cool. I thought
good.
it was at like some event or something, but then I read the tagline that it was at
Yeah.
the Fresno Fairgrounds today.
Yeah.
It was probably like it was made kind of last minute, a made thing, and they were
Yeah.
just like, hey, this guy wanted to make the statue of you. You're in town. Can we just kind of do it at the fair?
Yeah, I think so.
Like, I think that was not really last minute, but just at this last minute kind of feel, they just put it all together.
Either that or his manager lost my phone number, lost my email. One of the two.
Well,
I
it
don't
didn't
know.
look like there was a lot of people.
No,
there.
there was a lot of
You know
people
what I mean?
there.
Yeah, there
There
you
was a lot
go.
of people.
Yeah.
Oh, look,
no,
great
it looks just
picture.
like him, dude.
It does.
I
And
like
look
it.
at that belt too.
Right? No, it's
Man,
good.
I mean, what an honor right there.
No, I think it was one of those local artists.
Jose is doing well, bro. We watched his first fight, and I think it was in Visalia. I think it was. It was out of college.
No, nice.
Was it Visalia? No, I can't remember where it was. Lemoore or, gosh, dang it, I don't remember. And that's the first time I saw Danny Valdivia, and I said, man, that kid has talent. This was back in the day. But when Jose, he's just a different breed, man. He's just a different type of talent, different tenacity.
He proved it against, what was that last guy I just fought? That he just
Maurice Hooker.
Hooker.
Yeah, that was
right through him.
And that was supposed to, people were saying that could have easily happened to Jose. Jose went in enemy territory, took care of business.
Yeah, he established that I'm going to fight guys that potentially could be better than me, and that's going to force me to up my ability one more notch.
We've had some conversations when I'm not going to disclose here on the show, but he wants to fight the best.
Of course.
I mean, in the names that he mentioned,
it's his point in his career to be doing that.
He wants to fight the best. He wants to be great. He wants to be recognized as defending, as a champion, a multiple champion, and someone who defends his belt.
Yeah, no, you keep going around finishing top-ranked guys like that, that's going to be an easy label to carry upon yourself, because that was supposed to be like a tough fight for him. Like, everybody was like, we're going to really get to see what Jose's made of. This is what you find in champions, like Hooker's on a different level. And I'm just like, you guys are not realizing what the kid's capable of. Like, they weren't really looking at they were only looking at what Hooker had done in the past and the pedigree and stuff. And they're like, this is going to be a first test. It's like, dude, no, this is going to be a test for like Hooker is what it was going to be. And he just came out there and said, bink, bink, bink.
He did.
Give me.
He did. Exactly.
Like, a couple of those,
and that was a great stoppage, because that was an ugly knockout.
Yeah, that was a very total control of the fight, total control of the pace, total control of where it went. Just pick your shot. And then after he clipped him that one time, it was just pick your shots from there. Okay, how do you want to end it? Here we go. Boom.
Boom. Exactly.
So I'm saying is you're putting him up against good guys, because Hooker's a good guy. He's a great fighter. But when you discount him like that, all you're doing is you're forcing him to go, okay, I'm just going to go ahead and let me just turn. I was at like a 6. Let me go ahead and turn it up to 7. We haven't even gotten to 10 yet. Like, you're just forcing him to up what he's capable of. Not because he wasn't capable of it before, but when you have that level of opponent and then you doubt him for even a second, then it's just like, okay, well, here, let me show you. And that, like I said, yeah, Hooker could have got a clean shot in there sometime, but at no point was he in control of the pace. At no point was he in control of the direction of the fight, and how. It was just showing that Jose is just better than what he's being given credit for, and he just has to show it. And that, unfortunately, landed on Hooker on that one. But when it's not Jose's day, it's going to be because it was a guy that said, oh, okay, you've been coming up, I need to go up.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's how boxing works.
Exactly. And you know what the cool part is? There's some youngster in the amateurs right now that has him on radar right now.
Yeah, there's some kid now, some like 17-year-old that's just
the way it is.
That's just that he's loading the gun now, and it's got Jose's name on it. And it's just, there's going to come a day where it's going to be like he tries to one-up him, that kid just one-up him. And that's what you say about champions is I can't wait to watch who beats him, because that guy's going to be a beast.
It happened with Chavez De La Hoya, and it goes on and on. I mean, Larry Holmes, Muhammad Ali, it happened.
Khabib.
It just happened. Yeah.
The day Khabib lost, I want to see that fight, because whoever beats Khabib is going to be the next guy that you're going to go, okay. You know, because
and it's probably some monster that hasn't even signed yet, or they're under the radar. Maybe they're 5-0.
Yeah, they're on the farm league still.
Yes, exactly.
They're coming up, and it's going to be somebody that.
But he's at home saying, "I can beat him."
Yeah, there's always someone saying, "Well, Ferguson's the next one in line."
Yeah,
saying, "I can beat him." Conor just wants to fight because we know, yeah, sure, you could beat him, but we already know you can't, because the first time out,
I'm a Conor fan, and I'm afraid to say I hope that Sing and Dance show is not getting old already.
It's not that it's getting old, but he needs to get in there and get a win. And I don't think pushing for a fight with Khabib is how you restore the faith in you. Like, he just wants to go out there and fight superstars and say, the king has always been here. I was taking a siesta. I was having some babies. You know what I mean? Like the wife was bugging me for babies. You had to take some time off. But you can't do that against the guy that's already beat you. Yeah. If you want to come back and get that following and the faith of you were just on a vacation, I was counting me money. I was busy counting me money and driving me rolls. You got to have a fight that you should be able to win, and then you go against a top guy, and then go out there and make a statement. You don't risk it against a guy that's already beat you. Like, that's a really lose-lose scenario from him. If I'm looking at it from a managerial spot and a career spot and a direction we want to take your career spot in, that's a bad fight for Conor. Yeah, you might win. You might get your shamrocks pushed in too.
Exactly.
Because you already did. So take a fight against a guy that might beat you, but you haven't fought yet. So there's a damn good chance that you'll beat him if you're the right Conor that shows up.
Exactly.
And then you go after the gold.
Put him on the undercard.
No, I wouldn't say undercard. I would say make him like
No.
co-main.
No.
Like co-main or like third fight of the fight.
Hold on a second. Okay, that's a whole different conversation, a whole another show. McGregor's not going to be on the undercard for nobody.
No, never. Never. If he ever got offered an undercard spot, he would be like...
He won't come out.
Yeah, he'd be like,
He won't come out. I won't come out until that fight's over.
If they offered him an undercard fight, I would love to hear their perspective of why he's an undercard fight. Like, why? Doesn't make sense.
No, it's not going to happen. It's not going to.
He hasn't lost multiple fights in a row, I think honestly, if he lost multiple fights in a row, he'd be like, "Okay, I took me shot, I rolled me shamrocks, it didn't work. I'm out. Thanks for all the flipping money."
Yeah,
because that's what it's going to be. But he'll never be anything less than a co-main.
Yeah.
If he finds himself less than a co-main, he'll probably it's time to walk away.
It's time. It's time. Exactly.
A fight against Khabib, nah, I don't think that's smart. Is that a moneymaker? Sure, but that's all he's looking at it from. He's not looking at it from how a fighter needs to be looking at it.
Well, I think the fans deserve a different look right now.
They do.
And we're definitely going to be talking about that soon. In 45 seconds, tell us, how do you see that LeVar Johnson fight taking place?
Oh, from the comfort of my chair and 30 seconds in, don't get up to get a Hot Pocket. Don't get up to use the restroom. Don't get up to answer the phone. Leave it on the charger. If you get up to walk away from LeVar's fight, you're going to regret it. Nothing against who he's fighting, but LeVar has just always been a striker. He's always been a one-punch finisher. I really think that with taking off the safety of those gloves, man, dude's going to break jaws.
Oh, I believe so. I believe so. I will say this. The key into that fight is going to be the jab of LeVar Johnson. And the key to the fight is his opponent is going to try to take LeVar into deep waters, which is going to be a mistake because LeVar's going to make sure. In LeVar's mind, it's not scheduled for 5 rounds or 3 rounds. It's not. He has one style and one style only, and it's not going to change now.
Second round maybe because they're 2-minute rounds, right?
Yeah. No, 3 minute. They're 3-minute rounds.
Oh, they're 3-minute rounds.
3-minute
okay,
rounds
so
now.
then maybe he survives the first round, but he's not surviving the second because if you survive the first, LeVar has now found his range.
This guy's going to be cut up.
You know, and well, yes, LeVar's found his range, and you survived it. But now he has his range. That's it. Yeah. Now he's just going to slow down the pace and bink.
On the concern part, and don't kick my ass, LeVar, is I'm concerned on LeVar's legs. I want to see his legs, his movement to his legs.
Lateral movement, angle change, things like that. That's what I want to see. Because this is somewhat different, but this is right up LeVar's alley. So I'm only saying that because that's what I look for in a fighter. Always their legs. I'm always constantly looking at their legs, their pivot. Where are they planting themselves in a position for maximum damage, but maximum escape?
In the balance. Yeah, exactly.
And you have to, when you have to take the gloves off, you have to. You have to adjust it a little.
Exactly. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, I switched it up a little bit today because of things that needed to be done. ESCOVEDO will be back next Wednesday on the Fighter's Voice Kick-Ass Podcast. Tomorrow on the Fighter's Voice Knockout Podcast is going to be Carol, the CUTWOMAN. She's going to be back in studio, and we got a guest that we're working on right now. I just didn't want to give it away right now. I'm always trying to get that higher level guest. Even if we got to wait to that 11th hour, so be it. I mean, it's always good to get confirmation. I got 2 right now that I just need a confirmation. If not, hey, we got plenty of topics to talk and a great platform. And we'll talk about Spencer. We'll talk about Porter. I'm not going to give a winner just yet because we got another week to go.
Yeah.
And I appreciate everybody that's watching and viewing and subscribing. So, you need to subscribe, not just watch the show. And also, that's my dude right there, Saul Lomas. Hey, don't forget to subscribe. www.youtube.com/thefightersvoice. That's www.youtube.com/thefightersvoice. Remember, everybody has a voice, and so do you. It's a wrap. Thumbs up for Richie.
Okay, fight fans, it's not goodbye, but until next week. Remember, it's always voiceography at its finest. So on behalf of Richard Ortiz, Cole Escovedo, the special guests, and all the crew right here at the Kick-Ass Podcast, saying hasta luego, babies. And always, thanks for listening.